Hi, everybody. I'm Erica. I am a travel occupational therapist. I'm the owner operator of the List live travel healthcare jobs website, where you can see all of the live direct jobs from multiple agencies in one location, and you can contact the recruiters directly from that page. This is my good friend Faith. She is also an occupational therapist. She's a traveler. We met on the road at one of our assignments. I think it was your first travel assignment. Is that right?
It was my first one, and Erica showed me around, showed me the ropes of home health, which
Oh.
I'm eternally grateful for.
Are you? I feel like we, I don't know.
We had an interesting start, but it worked out. We're great friends.
Oh God, that job was so stressful. That was a stressful, and I didn't realize because it was my second home health contract, and I didn't realize how stressful that job was compared to other travel jobs. I just thought that was a normal level of stress to be operating at.
It definitely was not. Yeah.
Hindsight's
2020.
We have another friend. I have another friend that wound up at that same facility, and he's like, "This is the worst contract. I'm so stressed out. I just want to get out of here." And I feel bad. Don't get me wrong. I like the facility and I really like the management and everything.
Yeah. There wasn't any issues with that necessarily. It just a lot of the territory is so wide.
It was big, and we were always under audit, so our notes had to be so descriptive. So,
And now my notes are so descriptive and thorough because I shadowed the best. That's what I'm saying.
Roland said that. They're like, nobody, Erica, you don't need to document as much as you do. I'm like, oh, really? Well, I learned to document at a different agency that was under audit, and they were under like their third audit. So they had special like audit prevention people come in and work with us. It's all we did for 6 weeks was like defensible documentation. So that's now how I document, and that is how I
it's like hyper alert to everything. Yeah. Me too. Trevor, so I have a boyfriend, Trevor, and he's also an occupational therapist, and Erica, you know that, but no one else does.
Yeah.
And sorry, I lost you there for a second. And he is always, when we worked in the hospital system together, like he could see some of my notes and he would be like, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but like people need to know. And he's like, I don't think they need to know. He would just like sit beside me and be like, because he was doing documentation as well, and just be like, are you done yet? I'm like, no, I'm halfway done. He's like, what? So I've gotten better, but
I think I've probably chilled out too, where, whatever. We all grow and mold as we need to in this industry. We always pivot however we need to get by at that location. So.
Yeah, you have to, or else you'll spend your Saturday, well, especially in home health, like you'll spend your Saturday and Sunday working if you don't learn how to manage your time better. So.
Yeah,
not to scare anybody, but you will. Like you'll just learn.
I know. I feel like that's something that like we really need to get better at, especially as home health therapists, about how to document within the workday and not take our work home with us that we're not being paid for. Like not documenting outside of hours, and like not letting it take up our whole weekends and nights. Like it's easy to fall into that, and like we kind of need to keep banding together and be good about that. Like don't document being billed for it. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's a slippery slope, and it's such a fine line, because when you have to grow your no muscles and say, when someone's like, can you do this extra eval? The answer is no, or I will be working out of hours. Like, and if you technically you're supposed to charge, as you know, for that time. So it's kind of one of those things where you say, if you don't want me to go overtime, then the answer is no. If you want me to go overtime, I can this one time. I mean, if you have the ability, but most of the time they don't want you to go overtime. So they'll be like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, they'll find a solution for you. So you're like, okay.
Yeah, I don't even have to say anything else. And then this might be helpful too. So Trevor and I have had conversations where he is very quick. His documentation is straightforward to the point. So technically he can be much more productive. And when I say much more in home health, that's maybe seeing an extra person. But sometimes he gets, like, everyone is or most people as healthcare workers are kind of hard on themselves. Sometimes, like, oh, I only saw this amount of people today, or I only did this. But what we're always talking about is if someone sets a precedent where they're pushing themselves to the max every day, it makes the rest of us look really bad. And that's not to say that you shouldn't try hard, because I do. But if one person's like doing 5 evals and they're like super stressed and anxious and they're working till midnight, and the rest of us are doing a good job and a normal amount of people, then the company starts to shift towards, well, everyone can do 5 evals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something to keep in mind sometimes.
Yeah, I think it is important to band together and to stick with what's reasonable to where we can be. I feel like I'm so much of a better provider when I'm not so stressed out about seeing 6 patients in a day and getting to all of them, and then one of them cancels, and it throws off everyone else's time. And then those people are upset because you're coming half hour earlier, or their time gets adjusted, and then I'm stressed out. Like, I feel like I'm a much better provider when I'm not stressed out about seeing too many patients. And I have to say, even if my productivity isn't above expectations, if it's just meeting expectations, and honestly, I don't always meet productivity. I'm not perfect.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, not even close. I probably have like I'm probably on the lower range of productivity, but my patients will like me and we'll have a good relationship and we'll be able to make progress with them, and they will have a good impression of me and the company if I am in a good, healthy space where I'm not stressed out. I'm just showing up to help them and I'm not under time constraint to do that. So
Yeah.
I always think like, oh, I have to meet productivity, but productivity is not what ends up making me successful in this industry. It's being a good human to the people that are assigned to me, showing up and seeing how I can help them. That always 100% of the time is the right thing to do, and it will serve everyone the best, always.
100% agree. And I think the minute we start to focus on that is the minute everything goes downhill. Like, it just, you have to, and to be honest, like, I'm sure different companies you may crack down more on productivity, but I've been to, I don't know, 5 different travel assignments. I've done 5 different travel assignments, and I've never had it mentioned to me. So I know that's also one of the concerns that people have. Like, and I think SNFs might be, the skilled nursing facilities might be the outlier. I think they crack down on productivity, but I haven't worked in one as a traveler, so I'm not positive. But like, in the settings I've done, hospital, home health, those are the 2. I have never had it mentioned. So
I have to say the same thing. 5 years, I've only done home health, and I have never had it mentioned to me. And I stress about it all the time. Believe me, every single day that I am a home health provider, I stress about my productivity. No one has ever mentioned it in that 5-year time, except for on my last contract. My manager said, Erica, we're going to need to start seeing your full productivity. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm seeing all of the patients that have ever been assigned to me. And she's like, what? And it was a scheduling problem. The scheduler wasn't assigning, or I don't know, maybe there just weren't enough patients, but in her head, she's like, she's only seeing 17 productivity points, but that was all the points that were available. Like, I saw everyone.
Oh,
she just wasn't realizing that. So the only time that I've been asked to perform better was when I couldn't have, because that everybody got seen. There just weren't more patients. And so that's something to think about. We're so tough on ourselves and we compare ourselves to everybody else, but ultimately, like, how often does anyone ever say anything to you about productivity? Like, it's never happened.
Like, never, or clearly when there's a communication issue that has nothing to do with you. And that's not to say it won't ever happen, but I think generally we're high functioning people that aren't, and this is a generalization, but not lazy and want to do our best. And so if you're doing your best and you're pushing yourself, you're probably good as
Yeah.
a generalization.
And I have to say that nobody could have done better. I mean, if somebody else was in your car driving the same route that you're driving with the same patients, nobody could have done a better job at that if you're working the whole day and you're doing your best to organize them. And also, they don't have anyone else. So even if in theory there was this magic person that could replace you right now, it's you. You're it. You're what they have. So what you're providing is what they are receiving. And that's not to say like don't do a great job, but I mean, it's you. You're there to do that job, and you're doing everything you can. Obviously, if you're stressing about it, you care. So you're doing your best, making your best decisions. So we need to be like easier on ourselves about it.
We do. And then we could limit some of the stress and anxiety that goes with this job.
I know.
That we were talking about just before this. Yeah. I think also something, and just off the cuff, I think taking, people give travelers kind of a hard time sometimes when we take off a couple weeks in between assignments. I've just heard it, like family or friends who can't relate to having, a couple weeks to a month off, and they're like, oh, must be nice. And I'm like, I don't have PTO.
Right.
And so I don't have just a day to be like, I'm just going to take off today. Or I don't have those normal vacations built in. And it's truly we work really hard as travelers, and I think it's just necessary to take that breather. Like, I'm currently on a vacation, and it's just nice. Like, I don't even want to go anywhere. I'm already in a really beautiful place, but just to take a deep breath. And I think we also need to be easier on ourselves about that, just having some time off. Because sometimes I beat myself up about that.
Yeah, I feel really guilty if I have to take time off in the middle of one contract. It stresses me out because I know that they don't have coverage outside of me, and that it will impact all of my coworkers. And I see those people, even if I'm a traveler, as my coworkers and as my team, and I don't want to put that stress on them. So I always feel so bad about it. And my agency will always say, like, Erica, you're not obligated beyond this time you've committed. It's fine. And like, if you need to take it off, you need to take it off, but I can't. I always feel so guilty. So what I usually end up doing is just waiting until after the contract and then taking as much time as I need. But in this last situation, I had extended, but I needed like 4 weeks off, but I felt so guilty about taking it. And then I wound up just ending the contract because I felt so bad. Like, well, if they could get someone else in there, like.
Yeah. But they tell you, and that's the hilarious thing. So that's the circumstance I'm in. My boyfriend and I's contract ended. We said, my boss was offered, he goes, how long do you want off between contracts? Because I'm coming back for more. And I was like, how about 2 weeks? But the guilt that comes with that for some reason is, oh my gosh, my OTA is going to be stressed. Who's going to take care of my people? I mean, it all shows that we have a good heart, but also just like, calm down. Like, your boss asked you how long you wanted, and you said, maybe just 2 weeks. And he was like, sure. So it's really not a problem. We just make it a problem.
Right.
Sometimes.
I think, and especially probably as OTs, I think as a group of people, we're so catering to people and we want to just help everyone that we have more of a tendency to just feel bad about everything and just want to be there to help everyone at all junctures.
Yeah. And you just can't do that all the time. So
we're working on getting better about it.
We are. I know. I always have to, I don't know, just, I was in a little bit of a funk yesterday because I actually had a second to breathe. And the funny thing is, like, I don't know, I think it's just practicing constantly not being hard on yourself. And like what I used to do years and years ago, if I was in a funk, I'd be like, I have to get out of this. And it's like, actually, I can feel my feelings and like, take it slow and just not be hard on myself about feeling this way. Like, I think it's just a great life lesson in general. Just like, don't be so hard on yourself. There's no point of it. There's no reason to be.
Yeah. And I think another thing to think about, and this is funny because we're not even going to talk about this, but now this is the topic of
I know.
We just sort of ad-lib.
How organized conversations go most of the time.
I think for me, what's been super helpful, and it's so hard to do again, but you have to do it, is you have to take care of yourself first. Because even if you can feel like you can show up and put on a front and show people that you're okay and go take care of patients, if you're not okay and something's stressing you out, you're not going to be excellent to your coworkers. You're not going to be excellent to your patients. Like people are going to read your stress. Like if you need to go home for something, if you need to do something, you're stressed, you need a break, whatever it is, take it. Whatever you need and the entirety of what you need, take it and do it so that you can come back and be a better therapist. Even if you feel like it inconveniences people, you have convenienced them by being there and helping. You're not obligated beyond that. So just, I continually need to do better at saying, this is what I need to be okay. And I continually need to do better at making sure I'm okay first before I'm trying to help everybody else. So
exactly.
Work in progress.
Exactly. And I think that implies to when you're a mom, like, and I'm not, but it's just, it's for any human. Healthcare is like a high burnout rate because we're just pouring into others. Like when you're a mom and people are like self-care, I've heard like, believe it or not, self-care is selfish. Like it's not. You're gonna be I've like, you know, when people take like I don't know, moms get shamed for everything, so I see via social media, and I just think like the more you take care of yourself just generally, just the more it's gonna be better for everybody. You're not gonna be your best self. Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Including what you put in your body, Erica. That's a great segue.
Great segue. Do you have time to talk about it, or should we do that on a different video?
Oh, we can, yeah, maybe a different video. I'll do multiple of these. I like talking to you.
We'll have a weekly check-in with Faith.
Oh, I love it. I hope your followers love it.
I like it too.
Perfect.
All right, well, cool. We'll keep this a short little cute thing about preventing burnout in travel healthcare. I think that's fair.
It's very relevant. Yes.
Good chunk. All right, Miss. Well, I love you very much. I'm so glad that I got to talk to you.
I love you. I know. It was always wonderful. And we'll have many more of these, I hope.
Perfect. And that's something I have to say that the thing that has helped me the most on the road, when I started, I didn't know about the Facebook groups. I just felt like I was alone on an island for the first 2 years I was a traveler. And then I found the Facebook groups, and I was always in these obscure locations, so I never met any like traveler friends. And then I found the Facebook groups, and then I started making traveler friends because I was in the bigger cities, and just having like Faith and some of my other girlfriends that have been just there to understand what you're going through and to talk through things, like have just been such a light in my life to make things okay and better, and to know that you're not alone in this and someone else gets it. And I think that that's another really important thing. If you don't have friends on the road yet, you'll make friends on the road, and just check in with them, and just keep yourself surrounded by people that are uplifting and just good for your soul, you know?
Yeah, agreed. And you're one of those.
I know. You're one of those for me too, Faith.
Aww.
All right,
we're sharing our love for everyone to see.
I know. Well, all right. Thank you so much for hopping on. I know you're headed somewhere. You can tell me about it later.
On a date. Yeah.
Are you?
Going on a date with my boyfriend. Yeah. Well, we're just going to hang out. Yeah. Just a chill date. But I told him, I'm like, I'll be there soon. So just sitting in my car.
Yeah, you're chatting with your girlfriend in your car. It's totally normal. So
yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. All right. I love you.
All right. Love you too. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.